that type of culture, the hustle culture, do you think? Can you think of anybody? Or is it more stuff you see online?
I think it's more that I see online, but I do have one or two friends that are always hustling as well, that I can think of the top of my head. But also, like, everybody's definition of hustling is different.
Okay.
That's how I think about it too. Like, my definition, my way of hustling is different compared to somebody else's. You know what I mean? Where somebody, like, I have one friend who is, she's going to school, she has a part-time job, and she's enrolled in whatever, like, extracurriculars and doing research, da-da-da-da-da. That's hustling to me. But I'm, like, I've done X, Y, and Z jobs, and to another person that might not be hustling.
No, but what you do also is kind of hustling, like what you did with the waitress job plus your full time.
True. But and also I've seen situations where there's a person, like I have another friend who went to school and that's all she did.
Okay.
And for her that was a lot. Like that was a lot of work. That's all she did. She took 4 courses. To her that was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That could be hustling for her, but to me that's not hustling.
Fair enough. I feel like it depends on your limits.
Exactly. It depends what you can hold. It depends what you can. Like your
Everybody
limits.
has a different threshold.
Exactly.
Yeah. Welcome back, guys. This is episode number 3 of season 2. Are you okay? Yeah, it's okay. Season 2, episode 3. It's fine. Like I'm the one keeping track. You don't have to keep track of that. Don't worry. But yeah, welcome back, guys. Season 2, episode 3. We got our second recurring guest. My brother Mush Muhammad Kashif was the first guy who came on twice. Now it's Isabella coming back again.
Hey guys.
You did episode 3 on the first season too.
Oh really? Look at that. Number 3 is my number.
That's crazy. That actually worked out by coincidence completely.
Really?
Yeah. Like I never. It
was meant to be.
I mean, I guess it was. Yeah, but if it all goes well, episode 4 too. But we gotta see the time too.
Yeah, facts.
But yeah. Anyways, with that being said, guys, welcome. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. If you're new, we're Through Deep Waters, the Young Nations podcast. We look at a bunch of different topics relating to young people and the issues that they face in today's day and age. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to be talking about
the hustle culture.
Hustle culture, yes sir. So I guess before we go any further, if you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, make sure you rate and review and engage with the podcast. Like, turn that up. Like we're out here doing work. You know what I mean? So
we be hustling out here.
But not in the hustle culture.
You see what I did there?
It's not that old. I really don't think hustle culture is that old. Because
no,
we're
it's
starting
something
to
new.
see it now.
100%. I think it's something new.
Do you think it was like since the pandemic that it started up? I can't remember, but and you can never put a timeline on these things.
No, you can't. I think I would want to say maybe it's like 5 years old, 6 years old.
At least that's what it feels like.
Exactly. Definitely within 10 years. But then again, like, during that time, I wasn't working as much. I was also younger. I was just, starting to grow up. Now that I'm an adult, like a full, paying my own bills kind of stuff, now I definitely see it more because I'm around it more. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's new because I'm around it more or if it's because the culture is shifting.
Mm-hmm. That's actually a good point because when we were studying, we didn't really feel any type of or as much pressure to maintain finances or pay the bills as much as we do now as working people. So
exactly,
it's different now the way we experience it. But very quickly, how do you define hustle culture? What is it to you?
Hustle
culture.
People
who don't know what it is.
Basically, people who are in this kind of environment that are always working or working towards something. That's how I see it, and they don't have enough time for like daily tasks, personal daily tasks. That's how I see it. And they're always working, which can be a good thing, but also a bad thing, which we're gonna get into later on.
Mm-hmm. I think I saw so there's some websites that we looked at. I'll link them. I can't remember the names. I'll link them in the description, just the pages that we looked at for some of the stuff we wanted to do research about before we did the episode. But I think the Oxford Learner's Dictionary says that hustle culture is a culture that makes people move more quickly and aggressively. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's accurate?
I think it does, yeah. Because the word hustle itself is
Like,
I think very quick and aggressive. I think that's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
I mean, yeah, like it's more the way we experience it. It's more related to work, the way we talk about it and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's basically the principle of you work so hard until you can't figure your life out anymore. You know what I mean? Like, or you can't figure your life out is a bad way to say it. Until you can't, like, there's no more room for you to take care of your other essentials other than work. Whether that's your social life, whether that's your health, whether that's your, you know, work has kind of consumed your life in that way. So I think that's kind of what it is. I don't know. There's a lot of causes to it. I feel like there's a lot of things that go into hustle culture, but ultimately the whole conversation that's starting to come up is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is it nice that we have people that are so hardworking that they're willing to sacrifice for their jobs? Or is it a bad thing because we have so many people that are neglecting their mental health and making themselves vulnerable to all type of risks because they're basically ignoring what's healthy and just hustling? You know what I mean? So that's kind of the conversation that most people are having. What do you think?
It's really hard to say, like, to categorize it a bad thing or a good thing, because with it, there's a lot of good things that come with it, and there's several bad things that come with it as well. So first thing is that the good things is that you're working towards something. Well, it depends on your goal in mind and whatever. You're working towards something. You are, trying to chase your dreams, whatever it is, right? And you're trying to speed things up, and you have something in mind. But the bad thing about it is that sometimes, like you said, you tend to neglect your mental health. You tend to just overwork yourself. You tend to, forget about just living life. And you forget about the things that are very important in life. So, for example, like this year at one point I had 3 jobs, okay? And it was a lot. And I only did it for like a month, and I couldn't do it anymore. Because the reason why I did it is because, like, I need money. I need money, blah, blah, blah. Like, I have goals that I want to achieve, and to achieve those goals, I need money. And my bigger goal in mind is to create generational wealth. Whatever that means for you. Generational wealth can be different for other people, creating it different.
I feel like it just means something that your kids can inherit, no?
More like, I meant to say more like the way you go about it, is different. So for me, like, working these jobs meant, okay, if I get more money, then I can save towards buying a house. Buying a house meant then I can, buy my first property and rent out the basement and make money off of it. Something like that. That was my goal in mind,
Just kind of trying to find different ways to make
exactly,
money. Streams of income.
Exactly,
like
100%. But then I caught myself, like, I used to, like, wake up at 4 a.m., and then I would head to my job. I'd be done around 12, and then I would go to my next job. And that job, I'd be done, I don't know, sometimes I'd be done around 5 or 6, depending. And then depending on the day, I'd be done there, like around 6, 7, like, really it all depended. Or I could go to my next job, which was serving.
So what were your first 2 jobs? So, like, just to paint that picture.
So the first job, I would work at airport in Toronto, and then I worked at a retail store, and then at night I would work at a restaurant. So I had to serve. So I'm telling you, the days that I had to do the 3 jobs, which wasn't that often, I tried to avoid that, but when I had to, I'm telling you, and, like, I just wanted to just scream and just kind of, like, tuck myself into bed and not do anything, avoid it.
Yeah, no, I feel that, because, like, it's mentally draining. The reason that we 100%. have 8-hour workdays nowadays is because we recognize that it will drain your mental health to
100%.
exert yourself all the time, right?
100%.
So, like, I don't know, I feel like, but then this is the other thing that I wanted to ask about too, because I feel like, to what extent is it like something that is a culture that people want to do just because they want to feel like they're working hard or whatever, and to what extent is it something that people have to do because they need that money? Or do you think, is it something like you think you need that money but you don't really, but more is better? Or do you need that money to, like, put food on the table or pay rent? Like, because look, there's poverty, like, which exists, which is like when where you need like certain people, they need that number of jobs to pay rent or to be able to get their basic necessities covered, right? And some people, it's like in your situation, I don't think even if you stuck with one job, you were not worried about your necessities, basically, right? You were more worried about like the generational wealth, creating the income, and that you can benefit more from to fund the lifestyle that you wanted to live and stuff like that. But I feel like along the way you forgot that if you do that, you wouldn't have access to that lifestyle that you...
It's true, 100%. Right? So there's a lot of questions that you asked right there.
Oh, that wasn't really questions.
I guess you like just points, but... It's true, I don't need this money because I like the money that I make is like enough to cover my basic needs. But because I guess this all stems from, for me anyway, from my childhood. Is where like I was growing up, I didn't have like my parents didn't make enough money, and like I was limited in like certain opportunities and experiences in life, and I feel like those experiences that I missed out on, it really could have made an impact in my life. And I thought to myself, if I could make money, I would never have to miss out on any other opportunities, you know what I mean? Whether that's traveling, whether it's networking, whether it's whatever it is, I don't want to deprive myself of that opportunity or experience. And that's not me saying like, oh, I need to go buy myself a Louis bag because I never had it when I was growing up. I don't give a shit about that. Okay. Pardon my French. It's not that, but it's more about, to me, it's the experiences like traveling. That's something that I value a lot. Some people, they're not okay with dropping 1K and traveling to wherever. But to me, that's a learning experience. That's a life experience. You know what I mean? So that's something that I wish I had when I was younger, and I'm willing to work towards that to get it. Another thing too is like buying a home. Like I think about when I was younger. Okay, my parents had their own home and whatever, but we were very limited in buying certain things and decoration and all this, like, you know, materialistic stuff.
Like buying a house and making it a home type of
exactly. And so now that I look back, I'm like, if I had this opportunity or this money or whatever, then I could provide my children what they want and need. And that's not me like allowing them or potentially allowing them to be greedy and get them everything they want. I don't want to be that kind of parent. But
it's like certain stuff that we didn't have.
Exactly,
that we want to
exactly, 100%. I don't want them to worry about money. I don't want them to worry, if I spend this $10 today, will this $10, will it be there tomorrow, or would it, you know, I don't know when's the next $10 I'll be getting. I don't want them to worry about that, because that anxiety to me is it's still present till this day. That's why I work so hard. Like I have that anxiety. I'm like, what if all goes like, I don't know, like to the shits basically. Yeah. And I don't have this money. I don't know. Like I get into big debt or something like that, which I'm not. But I get scared. I think the reason behind this is me being scared that I won't have like money, or I won't have something, and I'll end up security. That's the main thing. And now that I'm thinking, now we're talking about this, I'm relating money with security, and I don't think that's a good thing.
I mean, like, it's not in practical terms, yeah, like money makes you more secure and stuff 100%. Like that, and it funds your lifestyle, it funds your necessities, but it's not the end all be all of everything.
100%. Right? But then I'm also thinking, like, I'm letting money guide me, and that's not a positive thing in life.
Yeah, but see, it's like terms like, oh, chase the bag or hustle culture, things like that. Like, go get the bag. If you have a bag in front of you, go get it. But like, I think that guy, I read something, or I saw a video one time of some guy talking, some successful guy. Honestly, I can't remember beyond that. My apologies. Yeah. But it was some successful guy, and he was talking about basically saying, don't ever mess up your health or neglect your health for work or for anything else.
Exactly.
Like, he was talking about his own personal experience. Like, he built, I don't know, like 2-3 companies. I can't remember what exactly he did, but he did become successful financially, right? Yeah. And he said, I made sure of 2 things or 3 things. The food that I ate was good. Yeah. I went to the gym a certain number of times a week. Yeah. And I slept 8 hours every day. Yeah. Those 3 were non-negotiables. anything else beyond that can get negotiated, work can get shortened, whatever, this and that, or social life can get cut a little bit to meet those goals. But these three things are not negotiable.
I completely agree with you.
Right? Like, it's another thing too where you have your physical wealth or your actual wealth in terms of money, where you can count it and you can see it in front of you, it's the money, but then there's the body health and the mental health, which is also wealth. You know 100%. What I mean? Like, it's also very much something that's finite. It's a finite resource, and you're not going to get it back in the future if you neglect your health now and worsen your condition and shorten your lifespan. You're not going to get that back later on. So that's the other 100%. Thing. And I think we as humans, we have that instinct ingrained in us because we're in a capitalist, money-driven world. I'm not saying capitalism is good or bad. That's not the discussion today. But I'm saying like I don't think it's, you know, anyway, it's not the discussion today. But what I'm saying is, because we live in this world, it's not a perfect world. In this society, it's not a perfect society. Yeah. So while we go and secure our future and contribute to the world and contribute to the economy and all that stuff, we also have to be securing our internals, our 100%. Mental. And then I think we all have that because of the society we live in, that instinct to go get the money. But at the same time, you see this rise in social media trends of hustle culture and people bragging about all the shifts that they do and all the hours that they work and this and that, hustle life, and I don't do anything, I don't take no days off, nothing, you know what I mean? So
before you get into that, but I wanted to say before that I noticed that when I was working the 3 jobs, that I was neglecting my health. Because I would get up super early, I would have a shake, and then get to work, whatever. Sometimes, like, I'll have a quick lunch, but it wasn't even a healthy lunch, you know, something quick. And then I'd get to my next job, and then sometimes, like, I would be so tired to make dinner that I'd just pass out. And so it's like, sometimes I would think, do I have dinner and, like, reduce my hours of sleep, or do I have a good amount of sleep and miss out on my dinner? Exactly. So when I realized that both are starting to be compromised, it's not healthy at all. But then you're in that mindset of like, I need to get money. It's okay. It's just this one time. It's just this second time. Don't worry about it. Like, when you get into it, you kind of put your health on the side burner.
Like, do what you have to do mindset. I do what I gotta do.
Exactly. 100%. But now, fast forward to today, I've realized, like, I started to think about my values. I had to readjust them a little bit and have discussions with friends and things like that. I realized, like, yes, as much as I value, you know, security and having money and all these things, but I think my number one right now is my health. Because now that I'm getting older, you know, I'm still young and cute, but now I won't be this young and cute later on. So
calm your ego. Calm your ego.
No, but I won't have this health, you know what I mean? I need to have my time to do my kickboxing. Like, that I value very much. And
I've been noticing you have a lot of fun doing that.
I have so much fun.
And everybody needs that activity. Exactly. That they can release that stress.
Exactly. I need to have my time to cook, you know, to have my 2 hours for cooking or an hour for cooking. I need to have my time to be with people.
Entrepreneurs, I feel like anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur, anybody who wants to be a smart ass about hustle culture. Yeah. The thing is, don't set up your life in a way where you have to work more to gain more money. That's another thing. In a way where you have to work less. Exactly. Set up passive streams of income. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, imagine, like, rich people do not work that much.
Well, depends.
It depends, but a lot of them are established already. They got like 10 houses and they just take rent money from these 10 houses. They got their little investments here and there that they play with, and they just meet with an investing agent once a month or once a week or whatever to decide the goals or whatever, and that's it. You have to set up your life that you gain more money working less. But that's like, I don't have that answer for people, because that's like the whole key of entrepreneurship. If I had that answer, I would be there. You know what I mean?
100%. But the thing is, you right now, you're like, I don't think you mean to, but you're making it sound easy. Like, you buy these houses and all this stuff, and you make your bread, But I feel like these people who had to buy these houses first, they probably had those 3 jobs to get
or inherited it.
Could be too, or like, maybe they invested, or maybe they had a side hustle.
But the whole idea of what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm trying to say, have that goal in mind. At the end of the day, when you're older, you have to have the goal of, I want to work less and earn more. How do I, like, that formula has to mix somehow. You know what I mean? How do I make it mix?
For sure. But that also being said, again, this is the pros and cons. It's okay to prioritize certain things more for just temporarily and to achieve your goals.
But I mean, that's why we're in the phase that we're in now. Like, at this stage of our lives, we're young, we're graduated, we don't have families, we don't have partners, we don't have any responsibilities towards others. Your time right now can be just solely focused to you. And when that happens, you can kind of, like, not neglect everything else, but you don't have those responsibilities on top of your health and on top of your sleep and on top of everything else to be able to then go out and work hard. You can still work hard now. You know 100%. What I mean? But yeah, with that in mind, I just want to get back to the social media aspect of it. So we're starting to see like this hustle culture type TikTok videos and Instagram posts and stuff like that. People bragging about hustle culture, hustling in certain ways, or working so hard, vlogging this many hours like it's a good thing. No days off. Hashtag no days off was like a thing back in the day.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy.
No.
How toxic is that social media aspect of it? And what do you think makes it so acceptable to be glorified like that?
I think it's very toxic.
Okay.
Because as much as, yes, it is good to work towards your dreams, your goals, all this stuff, and work X amount of hours and whatever, just for X amount of time, whatever it is you decide to do, at the same time, people don't show the negative side of it, which is burnout, mental health issues, whatever it is. People don't show that side. They show the good, like again, on social media. They show all the positive. They show, oh, look at my whatever expensive things, look at how much fun I'm having, which I honestly myself, I have done. I think everybody has done this. Look at this, but they don't show the other side, you know? And I myself, like there's been times that I'm so burnt out, like I really can't with life anymore. I'm just like, I can't leave my room, and I don't show it. Why? Because I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, why would you share something deliberately negative about yourself?
Exactly, because then I'm scared, which I've had this conversation with you before, I'm scared because what if I'm just being too weak? You know? What if I'm just not being strong enough? Like, I should be able to handle this, work 3 jobs.
And do you find that pressure comes from social media or from inside yourself and your upbringing?
I think both, because I see it on social media. I see people working hard, people like creating these side businesses, side hustles, creating these companies, whatever it is, and I'm like, man, I want to get there. Like, I want to do that, you know? And they inspire me, and so then I put the pressure on myself. Like, okay, I need to create X, Y, and Z goals by the end of the week, by the end of the month, by da-da-da-da-da-da. And then I look at myself, I'm like, man, I didn't achieve all of this, or I only achieved 90% of it. So then I start being harsher on myself and telling myself, no, you can't take this break today. No, you should be doing this, da-da-da-da-da. You know?
Yeah. Like, it's kind of crazy because you have that pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
But it's not really, how do I say this? It's not an accurate statement.
It's not.
Of how things go, because I remember I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he told me, he said, there was a guy, one of his friends, that posted about like 23 or 22 something keys to the house, and I'm a homeowner, this is my first home or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And people are like, wow, he already did whatever magic or things that he had to do, and he bought a house at this age. And in reality, my friend's like, yeah, his dad covered the down payment. You know what I mean? He's just paying the mortgage. Exactly. Right? The monthly payments.
Some people don't show that other side.
You don't see it. Then if somebody like me sees it, or like you, it's like, okay, we don't have a pathway right now to get to where that goal is. But when we see somebody already there at our age, we don't see the handout that they got,
100%.
or the circumstance that they got. So it makes us think negatively, like damn, I was thinking about like 10 years from now buying a house, 15 years from now in this economy saving up for a house. And that's kind of crazy, because I see somebody else do it, and it's like, if they did it, then maybe why, like, is it because I'm deficient in some way that I can't do it?
100%. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And that's where the social media pressure comes into, where I had it happened to me where I had a friend talk about, he's another friend started a business and he's doing this and that, and I felt bad. I was not happy for that person. I felt bad because I was like, damn, everybody's doing something and I'm not doing anything.
Honestly.
Which is like a very garbage thing to think, because you don't know people's ins and outs.
Yeah, it's true.
I think one good piece of advice I got from an old friend of mine, shout out to them, they'll know if they hear this, but in first year of university, when we were both coming to Canada the first time, they got a job in something. I don't remember exactly what, but they got a job,
Yeah.
and they were working, they were out here doing stuff, making money, and I hadn't held down my first job yet. I'd just done internships before, so I felt bad. Then I was like, man, like,
why can I do this? Why can I get one?
Do this? I had a conversation with him. I was like, bro,
what did you do that I couldn't?
No, I mean, you're working, you're doing this, you're doing that, and I feel like I can't. I haven't broken that ceiling. And he just looked at me and said, it's not your time. I said, what do you mean? He said, it's not your time. And what that meant was, like, the opportunity arose for him to get that job at that time, and he took advantage of it. Opportunities don't care about your age. You know what I mean?
That's so true.
Opportunities will come to you at the time where it is appropriate for it to come to you, when God lines it up for you. You know what I mean? So if an opportunity happens to somebody at 18...
Well said.
Right? If an opportunity happens to somebody at 18, and they get it and they go up, right? They're up now. And it doesn't happen to you till you're 23 or 22, and you go up to the same level, or you go up in a different way, that whole time between 18 and 22, 23, you're thinking like, is there something wrong with me? Why can't I get to where this person got to? But the opportunity hasn't presented itself for you yet.
Because sometimes you're just not ready for it.
Yeah.
It'll come to you when you're ready for it.
It's like
when it's meant to.
For me, it's that belief in God.
Yeah, for
God
sure.
is going to set it up for you. When you're ready for it, you just have to put in the work.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, what can I do in this situation right now to be able to set myself to be up later on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
So at the end of the day, it's just a focus on yourself, a focus on internally being able to grow yourself, and don't so extra hours, it sometimes does, but it doesn't always correlate with higher success, right?
Yeah, it's true.
I'll give you an example. I was reading this book called The Compound Effect. Shout out to, I can't remember the name of Darren Hardy, the name of the author, right? But I was reading that book, and it's...
I've heard of that book before.
It's a good book. You should read it.
Wait, I think I have the book.
Yeah? I listened to it in audiobook.
No, maybe I don't know, but I've heard of it, yeah.
But yeah, so what he was saying is, like, those people that, like, let's say, for example, you hear about somebody starting a business or somebody doing something really good, and you get on your grind and you're like, oh, I want to do the same. So you're like, okay, I'm going to do 5 days a week. When I come home from work, I'm going to work on this side hustle idea or whatever for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Every single day, 5 days a week. And you're motivated to do it. But then when you actually, like, think about it, it should never be that sudden of a change. It should never be something that takes up that much of your time, because when you do it, it'll basically, what'll happen is you'll be doing it 5 days a week, and you'll go through 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, stuff like that. You'll be in it for a while. Eventually the burnout will happen.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And you'll get burned out, and you'll honestly, the same thing, kind of like, I'll get to that in a second actually, but once that burnout happens, all that progress that you made doing that hustle 5 days a week for that time is gonna get lost, because you're gonna lose that momentum, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you said, I'm doing it 2 days a week, 1 day on a weekend where I'm not worried about work, and 1 day after work, and the rest of my days are manageable, right? If you set it up like that, okay.
So it's kind of like efficiency in a way.
It's not the same 5 days that you would have done, but that person who did 5 days might stop after 3 months, and you're still going 3 years later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And in that way, you've made that progress.
True.
Then if you equate, like, the person who did 5 days spent X number of hours, and the person who did 2 days spent Y number of hours or whatever, like, it's not gonna match up. Somebody, they might have done a similar number of hours. I don't know how that math works, but it's the momentum, right?
Yeah.
The momentum that the other person who's done it 2 hours or 2 days a week for a while, for 3 years or whatever.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
They build that momentum. They're able to grow their hustle. They're able to manage it better, and over time, then it becomes something maybe that can generate finances for them one day. And honestly, I feel that about, just sorry to cut you off prematurely, but I felt that with this podcast, if we're going all the way real. Like,
it makes sense, yeah.
The reason we stopped the podcast is, aside from Hussein having to go travel and do his surgery and all that, honestly, like, because I've always been the one who did the editing. I've always been the one who did the social media and all that, set up the equipment and record. Like, it was basically the behind the scenes is basically on. I'm not saying it's Hussein's fault, because I kind of assumed ownership of it and took it upon myself to do it. So I never asked him or felt like he should have done something that he didn't. He did everything that he needed to do, but because that was on me, once the transition into a work life happened,
yeah,
I was still expecting myself to do that every single day. I was still expecting myself to make sure that I get these
you had high expectations
posts
for
in
yourself.
every day, or I do the editing at this time or whatever, and I didn't know how to pace myself, and I just couldn't keep up with the podcast anymore. I said, you know what, I can't. I have to go back
No, I can
and
definitely
reevaluate.
relate, yeah.
I had to take a couple months to myself without even thinking about the podcast.
Yeah.
Right? 3D Waters did not exist in my mind for a while. And then eventually I was able to figure out my schedule, come back to it slowly, build up some episodes, figure out that I don't have to worry about it every day. Maybe get somebody to help me with some of the social media stuff, with some of the editing. Maybe I talk to Hussein, maybe I talk to you, you know, like...
Yeah.
We've had those conversations, but it's just about managing your resources better. And the podcast is not something that's going to generate a lot of income for me, but it's going to be something that that I'm passionate about, that I want to keep doing.
It's an outlet for you as well.
It's an outlet for me,
yeah.
and it's something that I'm hoping benefits people. Maybe one day it gets big enough that it can make financial profit or whatever. That's not a term, but it can make profit, then maybe if that works out, that'll be great. But it's not something that I have with that in mind, so it's not like I'm saying I'm grinding for money. I'm just grinding just because and this is me doing something I love.
Yeah,
you know
for
what
sure.
I mean? Before we get back into it, basically, I want to show some love because it's the World Cup. By the time this airs, the World Cup will be done. I don't know how this will go. But right now it's the World Cup. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina, right? That's my team. That's my Arab countries. We got to represent, you know what I mean?
It's sad.
We had Morocco tie with Croatia, and we had Tunisia tie with Denmark. Positive results
good,
for
yeah.
most of the Arab teams. Shout out to Qatar too for hosting the tournament, but the focus is going to be the winning teams, and when I show them some love, that's why I have this little shmag here with me. It's like the little Arab headgear or whatever. I'm just going to wear it. I don't know if I should wear it like this or I'll just sit on the table, but yeah, basically we're proud of our guys basically for doing as well as they did, and we want to just show that love and support basically. So thank you guys thanks to all the teammates and everything, and it really changed the culture.
You said we're proud of our guys. That's your guys. That's not my guys.
That's my guys. Because,
exactly. You said our, and I'm like, that's not my guys.
I've never been more like the Saudi Arabia win. That brought tears to my eyes.
Honestly, that was crazy. That honestly was crazy. I did not expect that one.
I was fully in here 5 a.m. shouting, yelling. I don't know how I didn't wake up my roommates. But,
that was shocking to me.
I love it.
Did you hear how
they all got Rolls Royces?
Yeah,
all the players. They deserve it. Give them another one.
And it was like the ghost. What's it called? The ghost phantom. Yeah. Could you believe
Give them two each, 3 each. They deserve it.
Okay, relax. Calm yourself.
Anyways, yeah.
I need one.
Back on track, basically. Let's get this out the way. I want to throw a couple stats at you and see what you think. So, according to a study by Deloitte, 77% of people have experienced burnout at their job, and 42% left their jobs because they felt burnt out. How does that stat sound to you? And does that stat sound real, or does it sound kind of exaggerated?
At first, it sounded exaggerated to me. But then now that I'm in the workforce, it sounds pretty accurate.
It's weird because you start work and then 2 months later you're like, I need a break.
Yeah.
But then you 100%. Just started, it's been 2 months.
I know, 100%.
So it's kind of tricky, and I don't know how much, because the older generation will have that take of the younger generation is just picky and choosy, and they're so self-involved and they don't want to work and this and that. I sometimes struggle with how much of that is true and how much is it just harder for us now. You know what I mean? Back in the days, you could, in a traditional household way back when, in the 80s or 90s or even the 2000s, early 2000s or whatever, you could be a man earning $50,000 a year. Your wife doesn't work.
At the time, even $30,000 at the time.
30 to 50, right?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how much, but you earn that much. You get to save up and buy a home like normal.
Yeah.
It's not an issue for you. You know you're going to be able to buy a home if you save up and work hard. Your wife wouldn't have to work back in the day when the households were more old school, old fashioned, where the woman didn't work as much. But you could do it. like if you needed to, like if the wife didn't want to work or whatever, it could be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where your wife could sit at home, be with the kids. Obviously, I'm not saying which is better, which is worse. I'm not about to open that can of worms, but I'm saying you financially you could do it, right? Where it's like a one income household for a family, right? And you can set it up so that the kids are taken care of, the house is taken care of, the bills are taken care of, and you have spare time, and you're saving up for your retirement, and you're gonna be able to have that.
Yeah.
Nowadays we don't have that.
No, you can't.
Impossible. In the 6 years that I've been in Canada, 5 years, this is the sixth counting. In the 5 years that I've been in Canada, I buy roughly the same amount of groceries, maybe a little bit more now, but not that much. And my grocery bill used to be like $60, $70. I don't drop less than 150 now, maybe even 160, 170. And that's not including if I go to the butcher and buy chicken or meat.
That's crazy. See, so this kind of like ties back to, is hustle culture new? Is it something, we were talking about earlier? Is it something new? Was it created? Was it influenced by social media? Is it glorified by social media? Why is it created by social media? Ties back to, why is it even created? Mm-hmm. Is it the North American culture? I think this all stems from also capitalism. You see it more in the Western countries. I mean, in Europe, there's more of a work-life balance, but
a lot more of a work-life balance.
Oh, yeah. Whereas in North America, not really. And then you start thinking about, well, why isn't there really? Is it the culture itself? Has it always been like this? Or is it the economy? Mm-hmm. I don't know about the States. I'm sure like the hustle culture
I think it's harder in the States than here. Because
it is, but I feel like in the States, you see more money.
Yeah, there's more, like, regular people have more purchasing power.
100%. Because I see my cousins and families, whatever, they be working and the money's there. You see it. Whereas here, I be working X amount of...
How much of that is social media and how much of that is...
See, that's another... That's true.
Like, see this.
That's true.
Here's the thing. In the Middle East, I don't know how Latin America is, but in the Middle East, where I grew up, it was very normal for me to come home from school around 3 or 4 every day, or let's say 4 o'clock every day, and I'll see my dad come back at like 7 because we finish at 6. By the time he gets back in 7:30ish, 7, and I'll see him for an hour, maybe 2, and he'll go to sleep. For me, that was very normal.
Wow.
Like, it also plays in perspective. No. Like, maybe in North America, it's like that now because the economy is getting worse, right?
Yeah.
In the middle, and I know like there's these statistics and these reports or news articles or whatever that you read about for East Asia, the Far East. So those countries and the Southeast as well of Asia, they work insanely hard, right? Yeah. And they always have. Like, I think Korea. I'm not gonna I don't think the stat is correct. I haven't checked it, but something along the lines of the highest rates of depression or job turnover. Or I think they fire people the easiest in Korea or something like that. But
like South Korea?
Yeah, it's like whatever the stat was. It just kind of like to illustrate that over there is like a much harder hustle culture than we have here, but that one's more perpetrated by the employer.
Got it.
So whereas here we're looking at social media, there it's like the employer is kind of telling you.
See, that's another thing that I want to say. In Colombia, they're thinking about reducing work hours.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
So in Colombia, they're trying to reduce the work hours. In Colombia, you work Monday to Saturday, and Sundays you get off. Saturdays are usually a half day. Mm-hmm. And Colombia, you start, let's say at 8 a.m., and then you're not done until 7. Or you start at 9, you're not done until 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. Then you get a 2-hour, depending on which part of the country, you get a 2-hour lunch break. And people usually take their naps and whatever. But now in the news, they're thinking about reducing that to, I think, just a 40-hour and take out the Saturday or something like that.
Yeah. And they're doing the same like in a bunch of countries with the 4-day work week.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
Canada, you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
We're slowly getting there.
I hope so. I really hope so. But,
so again, hustle culture is different everywhere. It's like here is okay. You put in your 40 hours a week, but you come home and you're still working. Whereas let's say in Colombia, the hustle culture is you are putting in the hours, but as soon as you get home, there's no work. I mean, some people have their side like jobs, whatever, but there's usually no work. You're there to enjoy your family, your friends, and people like in Colombia. They like to have gatherings. They like to have fun. Colombians are very social people. They be going to bed around 11, not 9. Don't matter if they work the next day.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different.
I get that for sure. One more thing I wanted to talk about was this idea of performative workaholism that I read about. Again, I'm gonna link all the pages I read from in the description. But basically, what that is the idea that those people that post on social media about how hard they work or what they do or the hustle that they're in or whatever. How much of that is performative? So just for the social media, like saying you work the 18-hour day.
Actually do it.
Yeah, saying you work the 18-hour day when you only did like 10. Which is still too much, but you know what I mean? It's that not as much as that you're saying, and how much of that is real. I guess you can't really put a general statement on it, but it's something to keep in mind. People are not always gonna be accurate about what they share on social media.
100%. Just like we were talking about earlier, people will only show the good things on social media. Will show, oh look, I worked extra hard and I have these 5 jobs, I'll be making this money, all this stuff. But they really working those 5 jobs? Like, what are those 5 jobs? Because some people may consider the 4th or 5th job as babysitting or cat sitting. You know what I mean?
While doing other stuff.
Exactly. Like it really all depends, and that is not to say that their hustle's less than mine or whatever. That's just a whole nother conversation. Whatever. But don't believe anything that's on social media, because again, some people may be working that 18 hours. Good for them, but some people may be really working the 8 hours and then.
It's smarter if you work less and earn more. Set it up like that. You could set up. Don't do this. But when drop shipping was a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Like when people jumped on that trend and started doing drop shipping, and that's like income, you've already set it up and it just comes in automatically.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know how that works exactly, but stuff like that where it doesn't have to be a house and you rent it out.
Or even investing,
Even investing or anything that can generate you certain income while you sleep or while you do nothing.
Yeah.
That's the way out. Do not work more for more money if you have enough already. Like if you have enough, do what you want. It's your life at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, if you want to gain more income and improve your lifestyle, the focus should be on making money in a way that doesn't make you work more hours.
Yeah.
Right?
So that being said, so how do we make it better? How do we change it? How do we make it more positive?
I feel like there's a number of ways, and it depends on how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
So depending on your problem, but whether it's your employer who's perpetrating the hustle culture, whether it's your friends around you, social media, or whether it's your internal feelings because of how you were brought up, the first thing I would say is just avoid comparisons with other people. So
that's
we kind of talked about that a lot already. Just like if you see something on social media, if somebody's up, great for them, they're up. You have no idea what handout they got. You have no idea what position they're in. You have no idea how the opportunity lined up for them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the field that they're in. You know what I mean? So you can never tell with these things exactly who made what at what time and how they made it, because everything is kind of just the positives on social media. So avoid comparisons with others is the first thing I would say. The second thing is watch the red flags. Right?
Yeah. What are you really compromising?
Exactly. Are you starting to step into your health a little bit, right? If
your values not
being respected.
Exactly,
right?
Not being respected.
Like by yourself and by others. So it could be a case of maybe your boss is creating an expectation that, oh, if you're not staying late, you're not working hard enough, which is inaccurate. Or it could be something like you seeing other people kind of stay late, forcing the pressure on yourself to stay late, when you should really realize that everybody's kind of on their own journey. You know what I mean? Whether it's basically when you see those red flags, when you see those behaviors and patterns start to emerge of overworking yourself and stuff like that, that's when I think you have to raise your hands and say, maybe this is the time for me to step back for a second and just kind of take care of myself first before I take care of my work. Right? That's the biggest thing I can say. And that's kind of knowing when to quit. knowing your limits.
Knowing your boundaries.
Yeah, when you hit
Just
that.
knowing yourself.
There you
Like,
go.
it's okay to stop. It's okay to say no. It's okay to take a break.
It's okay to take days off. The people
Yeah.
who did the no days off hashtag, I'm here to
Bruh.
tell everybody it's okay to take days off. There's
Like,
nothing
it's not
wrong with it.
cool. I feel like doing this trend, the hashtag no days off, it's not a cool thing.
That one is really performative because you want the world to see
Yeah.
that, oh, I'm not
Yeah,
taking any
it
days
really
off. Look at me, I'm working. If you're working, work quietly and let your success speak for itself.
100%.
Right? That's my mindset of it. Take your days off. Sustainable growth is the best type of growth. Do something you could do for a while. Don't burn
Yeah.
yourself out from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From early. And
Okay.
yeah.
And that's it.
Any final words, Isabella, before we go? Anything you want to say to the viewers, audience, with the hustle culture, with this topic?
Honestly, you've said it all. And just remember that life is not that deep. It's really not that deep.
Yeah.
So just enjoy it too, you know? You only get this one life, and yeah, chase your money, but, you know, think about what really matters in this life. So
What are you going to want to have done more on your deathbed?
Exactly. And that's it.
That's it. But yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Through Deep Waters. We appreciate you guys taking the time. If you made it this far in the episode, you're a real one. Thank you so much for keeping in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, and make sure you rate and review on the audio listening platforms, wherever you get your podcasts. Isabella, where can people find you on social media? Or do you not want to be found?
Don't follow me. Don't follow me.
Again, that's part of knowing her limits. Knowing your limits, knowing where, like, when is too much and when is enough.
No, I'm
right?
just joking. No, actually, no.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, with that being said, Isabella, do you want to pose for the thumbnail of the episode real quick?
No, actually, no.
You
Wait,
wanna
hold up.
pose for it?
Okay, ready?
All
Okay.
Yeah, with that being said, guys, thank you so much. This is Zaid. This is Isabella. And we out. We'll see you next time. Take care of yourselves.
Thank
and
you.
Don't hustle too hard.